Hello, everyone. I'm the Chicken Entrepreneur, and as you've seen, this is actually my first video. And I want to create this new project, this new channel, as a way to bring ideas, create new projects, questioning the systematic life, like people saying, hey, you have to uh, be born, then study, then get a job, then, get a family, then, basically work your ass off, and then just die. So it's really about questioning the things and be like I'm bringing a sense of entrepreneurship, right? Bringing a sense of hey, you can do whatever you want as long as you do it correctly, right? There's a methodology behind it. It's not like hey, I want to be rich. Okay, you need to actually hustle. You need to actually put your skills into it. You need to learn, you need to adapt, you need to open your mind to new things. And that's really what I want this channel to be like. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about is, well, it's been trading, and particularly in these moments, it's been about blockchain technology and all about cryptocurrencies and what's going on with that. Because a lot of people they have a lot of misconceptions about what this technology is, and they say, oh, it's a bubble, oh, is it dead now? Like, and that's kind of one of the series that I want to do in this current project, which is the Cheeky Entrepreneur. And I want, to give my input about cryptocurrencies, about the technical analysis, and and also give you tips on how to actually start over. Something that I don't want to do in this channel is to be like, hey, you know what? I'm doing things for you. I'm gonna tell you, oh, hey, this is a perfect opportunity to buy or whatever, and do the analysis for you, and there you will know. I want to actually um, yeah, grab your hand, but saying, hey, we need to learn together. We need to figure this out, and you must do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor or anything. I'm just a guy like a lot of people and a lot of students that are graduating right now, and I'm just like them, seeing like what's life, what's the next step, and for me, it's not about getting a job really because you know it's more about creating. You have this perfect opportunity, so why not trying some new things? Why not trying to understand things that you don't know? So perhaps you can create something new, right? So well, without further ado, I'm going to start with this series, which is well, I'll probably name them crypto analysis. So one of the most popular questions, is like, is Bitcoin a bubble? When you say it's a bubble and it's burst, like the first thing that I am like, people don't really understand what it is. People don't open charts. People don't know about it. And first thing of all, you can look at prices for free. If you ever wanted to analyze it, if you ever wanted to see the prices of not just stocks, but like forex currencies, um, Bitcoin, whichever, you can go to this. It's called TradingView. I'm gonna put a link down in the description. But basically, that's what every trader, that's like, you know, uh, like the must go page when it's about trading. And, again, this is just me telling you, like, hey, you're interested, hey, here's the page, you can look for your own. Like, I'm gonna try to break some things down about the analysis, but okay, let's continue. So, is Bitcoin a bubble? Uh, I mean, if you see this price and you say, oh, it was worth like less than 1K, when was that? Yeah, w- like close to 2017. I mean, it grew exponentially and it was crazy and it was all over the news, right? And that, people think, oh, it went like a bam, and one of the reasons is because of the marketing. I don't think it was really because it's a bubble in itself, but because suddenly it became having a lot of spotlight in the media, and that helped really bringing this sense of what's going on. This is new, but in reality, this price action has happened a lot of times in the past. In 2014, you had also an all-time highs, and then you had a drop of about 75, 80% of the price. And and people back there, they would say, oh yeah, the bubble has burst. And right now you're exactly seeing the same thing. Yeah, you have an euphoria, new all-time highs, and a drop of around 70% as well. And and again, this is something that already happened, but is it really dead? So one of the things that I really like about the technology, and something that you should know about, is the difference between cryptocurrencies and blockchain, right? So blockchain is the technology behind some of the cryptocurrencies, but blockchain on its own, I mean, it's outside the, the scope of this video really, because it's an amazing technology, and banks, everyone, like companies, they're investing so much money in this technology because it's the future basically, right? So that's something that people don't understand. And when they say, "Oh, cryptocurrencies," they do like, "No, no, no, that's so bad," and they don't stop and think and do their research about, okay, where did cryptocurrencies come from, right? What's behind them? What's this blockchain? And well, dividing these, of course, cryptocurrencies, well, not in general, but some of them are decentralized, meaning that they really don't have an ownership. Like everyone, the community, are the owners of the cryptocurrency. And of course, the most famous, the biggest one is Bitcoin. So right now people are saying like, oh, Bitcoin is dead, Bitcoin is, you see this price, it's not working out. Actually, I think it's quite the opposite. I mean, if you watch the recent news, and if you watch what has happened with government, like in the US, and how much time and effort and money they're putting into tracking down what to do with this new technology and with these new cryptocurrencies, you would surely say, hey, this is not going anywhere. This is gonna stay for the long term, and a lot of people are realizing that. Um, and one of the reasons, at least in my perspective, is because this is the first time that you can really have ownership of an asset. You're gonna ask how. So, for instance, if you have, you know, money, let's say cash, that has inflation per year, and the value is really well, it's not dictated by the government, but a lot of factors that you cannot control, right? Just as this. Well, the point is that who gives out the money? It's the bank, right? It's the government. For instance, gold. You can buy gold and you can store it, but is it really yours? There's these stores where you can, yeah, buy them and they'll store it for you, but you don't really have that ownership. And that's something really important about cryptocurrencies, because there's these called wallets, and there's these public keys and private keys which you own, and for the first time no one can touch your money. If we compare this to a bank, you might think that your money is totally safe, which in a lot of cases, of course, there's regulations to prevent the banks, to run out of liquidity and providing a risk for the clients. But if you really think about it, it's in reality the money that you see in your bank account is not really yours. They're using it, and that's how a bank is profitable. They have all this money, they invest, they move it around, they lend it, they get interest, and that's how it's profitable for them. Um, so again, here no one can do that except you. So that's one of the huge things about cryptocurrencies that I like. And some of the reasons for this drop is really all because of volume. There is this thing called showering trading, which is basically buying and selling basically at the same price just to create volume. And that's something that we've seen in the past, for instance, in here before. And right now we're losing. I mean, if you compare the volumes that we're having here, we're pretty much losing them. But I strongly believe that's also because right now there's more of an eye on cryptocurrencies. The government's looking into it, and so this kind of behavior is losing momentum, which I think is really good, because actually Bitcoin it's maturing right now. It's becoming something that a lot of people can actually use, and a lot of people can actually have this huge how do I say adaption from people. And because of the low volumes, again, if you compare this market to, for instance, Forex has trillions. I think it was like 7 trillions around, something like that, in volume. The stock market, you're also talking about trillions. I mean, just is it Apple is like 300 trillions or something, right? So when you compare that with this market, it's nothing. At all-time highs, I remember it was like 800 billions uh, of dollars, which is, yeah, almost a trillion. But I mean, if you compare the potential that this technology has have and you compare it to those markets, this essentially is nothing, right? And that's why I think like this is not dead. This is really the beginning. And of course, you have these shocking prices, and this is all because volume. Now, I'm gonna briefly explain why is that. So here we have a GDAX is one of the brokers that you can basically use. And I'm gonna try to explain how volume can really affect the price and why it's so volatile. So for instance, let's say like, you just briefly explain. You can really just Google it in YouTube and say, hey, how to use GDAX or how to use buy and sell cryptocurrencies. But you have people who are wanting to sell and they write down. You have people who want to buy, and you have the actual trades and the price, right? So here you have all the people who are basically putting a notice, hey, I want to sell this, right? So just to explain how easily this can be manipulated right now, and because of it's really because of the lack of liquidity. So for instance, let's just create a hypothetical case, right? Let's say that the accumulation of all these in volume in Bitcoin, it's up to 6,250, right? So let's say you have 100 Bitcoin as the accumulation of the sellers for that price. So if you right now that 100 Bitcoin is more or less 600K, right? So if someone with that amount of money would buy all these orders, the price would move that way. So, I mean, this is a hypothetical case in our, so it's not real, but how thin are these order books? It's really important because in this hypothetical scenario, if you had like 600K and you bought all that, then you would increase the price from let's say 6,000 to 6,250, and that would be a 4% increase, and a 4% increase of someone who only has 600K. And if you think about all the people who are millionaires and all the people who invest and how much they invest, then you can see where this price manipulation comes into play, right? And you can see why you have all these sudden movements in the market. You can start seeing like how it really went from this to here, because in reality there's not a lot of people in the markets putting their orders like I want to buy, I want to sell. So someone selling, just one guy with a lot of money can do all this, you know. And that's one of the most interesting things about cryptocurrencies, because it's really the wild west. And the FCC have said comments about this. They have said, okay, this is one of the problems, but you see, people are actually looking into it, and that's why I think it's the perfect opportunity to get into it. So I mean, probably this video is getting longer than I wanted, but just to add up, I want to do a little brief of technical analysis, just for you to start understanding more or less, okay, how to see the market, what to observe. So in this graph, I mean, what I've highlighted is some key support and resistances. Basically, these lines, resistances are basically let's say the point keeping the price going up, right? So there's a lot of supply at these levels, and resistances are basically the opposite, preventing the price going down because there's a lot of demand of the actual asset. So of course, it's easier to interpret this in a chart, because here you can see like the price went up and then it started bouncing, then it went down, then it went up again, down, retest, and so on. So that's more or less how you can understand these key support and resistances. Uh, So also, well, of course, it's pretty much obvious that you have a downtrend in here, and I'm gonna talk more about those things if you're interested, but I would like to keep this more of a non-scripted kind of videos talking about, my thoughts on this technology, my thoughts on what's going on with the price. Um, and yeah, of course, if you're more interested, I'll explain more about the key resistances and so on. But um, I just want to note for you to notice that the price, yeah, it's going down, and we have two important major patterns here. So we have something that's called a descending triangle. Basically, when you have a downtrend, for instance, in here, let me just show it in a figure. So you have this pattern when the price is bouncing from these levels and it's going downwards. So that basically creates a triangle. What this tells you is that if the price breaks down, it's gonna continue a really strong downtrend. So that's one of the key things that we can see about Bitcoin right now. But also, there's different patterns in technical analysis. For instance, there's these double bottoms or triple bottoms. So for instance, when the price, in this case, goes and reach a target almost twice, it's a it's an indication that it's gonna go up back again. And for instance, we have that same thing. We've reached these prices once, twice, and now three times. So in reality, this is a really important level, the 6K that we're seeing right now. So if we go more into detail, I mean, right now this video, it's a lot of information, but I don't want you to be like, okay, I understand this. I want to show you what's in there so that you have like you know familiarity with it because as I create more content, I'm gonna talk more about them, and gonna become more familiar with them, and you're gonna start understanding, and and what I want is you to start asking the question and having the feedback and saying, hey, what's that? I want really to incentivize that feeling of I want to learn more. So that's really what I want to do, and that's what I'm basically just spreading all this information. But bear with me, right? So from the past week, I mean, we've seen a lot of price action as well. Particularly, I think it was in here. When a price went down, we've seen this. It's called an inverted head and shoulder pattern. I mean, I'm gonna try to just do a basic formation of that so that you can actually see what it looks like. Where's the looking for the oh, here's the brush. Okay, so you can see this pattern, this formation. Let me just increase that, change the color. Yeah, that's better. So basically, it's like saying, okay, you have one shoulder, you have one head, and another shoulder, and this usually indicates that you know uh, when the price breaks from one point to the other in here, you can expect this kind of price action, right? So that's another pattern, and you actually saw in here it actually broke, and if you would have like wanted to trade or wanted to buy, this would probably be a good opportunity because yeah, the price broke, and these so-called breakouts are what really drive the price, and we're gonna see some other examples just of what has been going on lately. Um, there was actually another, well, almost kind of like a head and shoulders formation here forming, where you have, this this pattern over here, but that didn't actually break up. So something that you need to understand in trading and you need to understand in pretty much any market is that it doesn't have to do anything that you say or you think. The market is gonna do whatever the market wants to do. So you must be prepared both sides. And well, actually, right now, just to finish this video, um, you started to see like a new uptrend forming. And this line that I drew has been a really important point. As you've seen, it went once, it almost touched twice, three, then it bounced up. So that's uh, more or less what I want you to see, so that you can start playing around. Just open this. I mean, if you're interested, open it and say, "Oh, okay, I can see," and just start drawing on that. That's really what I want you to do right now. It's not really me teaching you anything other than things that I've learned on my own, by watching videos, by trying to read some books about it. And for instance, in here we have another formation. You have like a downtrend here and an uptrend here, and that's squeezing the price basically. And whenever the price is squeezed, the volume suddenly drops. Like you can see that the volumes here are pretty low in comparison to what happened, and that's because price consolidates at the point that something has to happen, right? And that's where the big volumes start coming, and the so-called breakouts. For instance, if you, let's say, had a long in here, you could have like a stop loss in here, or maybe if you see that the price breaks up, you can set up a different take profit. But the point is that you have to look for this kind of consolidation phases, and then these breakouts. And for instance, right now, this was a huge breakout. As we see, like the price dropped dramatically, but in reality, there was not a lot that you could do in terms of resistances. This was a really important trend line, and the momentum broke. And now, well, the price dropped, but again, it dropped to this really important level. Let me see if I yeah, these 6K levels, which is very important. And I think this in the short term is gonna really determine whether Bitcoin is gonna go lower or gonna bounce back. I'm because of what I said about the technology and about the adoption, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin. I don't think we've seen everything it has to go, it has to offer right now. But I mean, there's so much that I would like to talk about, and I just don't want to make this video any longer. But I mean, if you're interested, if you like it, just write a comment. Tell me if you would like me to see anything else. If you want to know more about the patterns, if if you want to hear more about news. I'm really excited to do this project, and I would really appreciate your support, and I don't ask anything. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. If you don't want to, don't subscribe. If you like the video, you know, uh, put a thumbs up, because it will tell me, of course, that you like it. And if you don't like it, you just thumbs down, and that's gonna be a really good feedback to proceed with this project. So, well, thank you, and I hope you like this video.